Recently, I moved my email list from Aweber over to Ontraport, and then I moved from Ontraport over to ConvertKit, and I'm very happy with it. So I wanted to create a ConvertKit honest review for you guys to give you my honest thoughts about whether or not this is a good email marketing platform, and to give you some ideas about whether or not you think this is going to be for you. Just a disclaimer that I'm going to put at the front that I do use ConvertKit exclusively now. I've used Aweber in the past, and I've also used Ontraport, but now I'm exclusively on ConvertKit, and I am an affiliate for ConvertKit as well. So take this review with a grain of salt, because obviously I do like this product, and so that's going to skew things a little bit, but I'll try and be as honest and as non-opinionated, non-biased as possible. So there's 5 things that I'm going to cover in this honest review. I'm going to look at price, and we're going to compare all the major services out there. We're going to look at the functionality within ConvertKit, the ease of use, which I find really important, because with Ontraport, even though it's quote unquote quite easy to use, I just found it really painful. We're going to talk about deliverability, which is obviously important when you're sending out emails. And then we're going to talk about the problems that I have with ConvertKit, because it is not a perfect product. It's great, but it's not perfect. So just so you know, if you want to get ConvertKit, you can go to convertkit.com and check it out, or you can go through my affiliate link, which is pelt.co/CK for ConvertKit. If you go through that, you won't pay any extra, but I do get a small commission, and I really appreciate that. So let's get into it. Let's look at the price. So ConvertKit's not the cheapest on the market, but it's also not the most expensive. So if we go and we have a look at the pricing for ConvertKit, they've got a slider here so you can see the pricing. So if you've got under 1,000 subscribers, you're going to be paying $29 per month. And then as you slide up, then obviously the price changes and it gets more expensive the more you go up. I'm going to use around 10,000 subscribers as a comparison. And so we can see between 10 and 15,000 subscribers, it's $119 per month, okay? So it's not super cheap, but it's also not super expensive. Aweber is a very popular one. You know, it starts from $19 per month, but we can see once you get over 10,000 subscribers, it's $149 per month. So it's very similar pricing to Aweber. In terms of MailChimp, if you got just 10,000 subscribers, that's $75. But if you go up to 15, or if you go over 12,801, then it becomes $150. So very similar pricing to MailChimp. If we look at Drip, then we can see pricing for Drip is $99 between 5,000 and 12,500. So it's very comparable to that as well. And then when we get into more serious products like Ontraport, you know, it's less than half the price of Ontraport, which was a big move for me. I was paying $300 per month in Ontraport, and I could move to $119 per month. So for me, it was a massive saving. And then if you're looking at Infusionsoft, again, you're looking at, 300 plus, really around that $400 per month mark for Infusionsoft. So it's very similar pricing to Aweber, MailChimp, and Drip. And obviously it's cheaper than Infusionsoft and Ontraport. So if you're thinking about pricing, it's definitely competitive. It's not the cheapest out there, especially if you get down to really small lists like 1,000 subscribers. I think Aweber is probably going to be the cheapest around there. Okay, it's very similar to Aweber. So, well, actually now looking at it, it is pretty cheap. MailChimp's probably the cheapest around the really low end. But yeah, very competitive pricing. So look, now that I've reviewed that, I actually thought I was paying more than if I went with Aweber, and I was considering actually, do I need all the functionality? Should I switch back to Aweber? But I can see that the price is very comparable, so no point switching, because you'll see why in a minute. We'll go through it. Okay, so looking at price, not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but obviously quite competitive. We're now going to look at the functionality within ConvertKit. Now, there's a few things that I think are super important for any email marketing software to be able to do. First, we need to be able to send out broadcasts. Okay, so we need to be able to email our list whenever we want. We want the functionality of autoresponders. And we also want to be able to have some automation in there. So if someone clicks one link, then I know that they're a buyer, and therefore I can add them to a different list or something like that, And something that I probably should have added in here as well is the ability to segment and tag. Segment and tag, okay? And this is really important and something that Aweber doesn't do. You can't move people between lists. You can't take them from one autoresponder and add them to another, but you can do that in ConvertKit. So let's go through the functionality now. So I'll go ahead and I'll sign into my ConvertKit account. So here we are, I've signed into the account and it looks a little bit different to other things out there. There's just all the major stuff is at the top. So it's quite simple to navigate. So you got your forms. This is what you use for people to sign up, and we'll look at that in more detail in a sec. Courses, these are your autoresponders. So rather than autoresponders, they call them courses for some reason. But basically, when someone signs up, like let's have a look at this new build fresh, which is one that I have. It's just a 4-part course. So when someone signs up for my list, they will then automatically go through this series. So this one, they'll get the day after subscription. They'll get one 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So this one goes daily. You can do as long as you want courses, and you can do whatever delays you want. Let's say for this one, I wanted it to be 2 weeks after they first subscribe. I can change that to 14 days and so forth. So you've got a lot of options there in terms of adjusting the autoresponder. I will talk about one problem with it towards the end. Broadcasts are really simple as well. So you can create broadcasts and schedule broadcasts. I have daily property listings that go out as broadcasts. So we can see that I've got 5 scheduled, and we've got ones that have already been sent out as well. You also get reports on it. So how many people it went to, the open rate, the click-through rate, and the unsubscribers as well. And creating a new broadcast is pretty easy. You just click new broadcast. You can choose to who you include. So, you can work on tags, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can work on, okay, I only want to send it to the people who filled out a certain particular form, and I want to exclude people who filled out another form, or maybe I want to exclude people who have a certain tag. I've got this tag, OPC customers, they're my customers. So maybe I want to exclude my customers. I can go ahead and do that. I can then click next step, and then I can go and create my broadcast and I can send it out. So look, I'll just do super simple example. I'm not going to send this out, but I can adjust the date that this goes out. So I can set any date and time, and it's going to be based on your local time that you've set. So AEST, that's my time on the eastern side of Australia. That's where I live. Okay, we can go ahead and schedule that. We can duplicate that if we want. We can save it as a draft. So broadcast, really simple. Managing subscribers is pretty simple too. I've just obviously had to censor these so you guys can't see them, but let's go ahead and open one. You can see the different subscribers. You can see the forms that they filled out here. You can see the courses that they're a part of. You can see if they've started, if they've canceled a course. I can go ahead and delete them from it if I want. And you can also see their email history. And this gives you an idea of whether it's delivered, and it changes if they've opened it, and it also changes if they've clicked on something. So you can see all of those things. You can also see the tags for your subscriber. So let's say I wanted to add a tag. I can easily do that. Let's say they became a customer of mine. I could add the customer tag, and then it would automatically get added. You can also just as easily delete tags by clicking on the delete button. You can go ahead, delete the subscriber. You can edit their details if you want as well. The only information you can collect about someone within ConvertKit is their email address and their first name. So that's a bit of a downside. You can't collect their address, their phone number, any other relevant information. So this is not going to be a full CRM because you can only collect those 2 bits of information. What I really love is the automations inside ConvertKit. So this is functionality that goes above what Aweber does. I think MailChimp has some automations. I know Entreport does and Infusionsoft does, but they're quite confusing. The automations here are really simple. So I can set automations like this one. If they subscribe to a form, then they get certain tags added to them. I can also have it that if they complete a course, then they get subscribed to another course. They get unsubscribed from that course. You can add tags to people who've completed courses as well. And adding an automation rule is really easy. So let's say I add a rule. Let's say I want to add, they click a certain link within an email. So let's say the link is my homepage. So let's say the link's on property homepage, we'll just call it that. And the URL is my website. So onproperty.com.au is my main website. When they do that, let's say I could subscribe them to a course. Let's say if they click that, I know that they're interested in, in new build. Let's say they're interested in new build stuff. So I could add them to this new build series opt-in, and I could go ahead and save that rule. I could also add tags or anything as well. So if I go back into that, I could add extra things. So I could subscribe them to that course. I could also add the tag. what am I going to add? OP, new build, I can add that tag as well and go ahead and save that. And so I've got that automation in there. And now when I'm editing a broadcast, so we'll go into this one that we were doing before, I'll go through, and if I add a link, I can add this automation rule in here. So let's just put link there. If I highlight that and click the link button, insert link, what I can do is actually click on this link triggers, and we can see the one we just created there, and I can go ahead and insert that. So now if I send this out, anyone who clicks on this link will be added to the list new build series opt-in. They'll also be tagged as OP new build as well. And so you can create that sort of level of automation. You can also put links in here. Let's say, unsubscribe from this course so they're not receiving marketing messages, but I still want to send them helpful free information. I could say, I could have a link that says just get free information, and I could create an automation rule that removed them from the marketing list and just put them on the free list. So you can do a whole bunch of things with automation. So it's really cool. So in terms of functionality, broadcasts, really easy to do. Autoresponders are easy to set up. Automation is really cool, but obviously things like with Ontraport, you could automate something. It would track someone to the point if they visited a certain page on your website, you could tag them, you could add them to a list, etc. You could do pretty severe automations in terms of Ontraport. You can't do that level of automation. You can't text people. You can't do extreme automation like Ontraport does, like Infusionsoft probably does as well. So in terms of automation, it's kind of basic automation, but it is very vital and very useful. So I would have things like I would send out an email to my list, say, here's video 1 in this series. And it was a 4-part series. And if someone clicked on video 1, then I would know they're interested in that series. So I'll add them to the list for the entire series. Whereas anyone who doesn't click on that doesn't get added to the series and they don't see all those emails. So the automation is really cool. And in terms of being able to segment and tag people, that's how you manage people in ConvertKit. So one of the things I hated about Aweber is that they're absolutely stuck onto one email list. You can't move them around. You can't change their tags. But if I know that a customer has changed within ConvertKit, then I can go ahead, I can adjust their tags, I can adjust their courses, I can delete them from courses, I can add them to courses. There's a lot of ways that you can segment and you can move people around. You can also create segments. So let's say I wanted people who were who had filled out a certain form. I want them as a segment, and I want people who also have the tag tools customers as well. I can go and create this segment. So I'll just call it seg, go ahead and click save. And then it's going to create a segment of people that I can then go and work with, okay? So it's got some pretty good functionality in there. So we've looked at functionality. In terms of ease of use, I think this is the best in the business. Look, I could go through and show you. Obviously, I've already showed you how to do it, but I compare Ontraport. When I was comparing Ontraport to ConvertKit, I was even saying to the support people, I was like, it's like going from a super old PC, maybe using Windows XP or Windows 95, and then upgrading to an iPhone or something like that. Something that's just so simple. Everything's just laid out really simply. So we've got our courses here, which are just laid out so simply. It's so easy to go ahead and create a course and, just name it, click create a course, and then it's just super easy to do everything that you want to do within it. Creating forms and putting forms on your website is really easy as well. So let's go ahead and create a form. Let's say I want a form to put on my website. What do we want? Do we want one that looks like this, one that looks like this, or one that looks like this? Let's say I want the more serious one here. I can go ahead and I can adjust these things. I can add an image, all that sort of stuff. And then to embed it on my website, I can just go ahead and get an embed code. And I can just take this tiny piece of code here and I can copy that and put it in my website. Here's Nathan's Barry's site. He's the guy who created ConvertKit. You can see down the end that he's got enjoy this article, and you can go ahead and join his newsletter. You can also do things like the incentive email is really cool. So you can change this incentive email. Let's say I'm giving away a free report, a PDF or something like that. Instead of saying, oh, you need to confirm your email in order to be subscribed to this course, they actually do something super smart, and you can actually change this. So when they confirm their subscription, it takes them to the product or to the file that you promised for them. And you can actually change the name for this to like download your file or something like that, and you can upload a file to set that in there. So it's just a really cool way that people receive this first email. It's trying to confirm them, but they don't really know that. They just want to get access to their file. When they click download the file, obviously they were after that email, and so it confirms then onto your list. You can also auto-confirm new members, so you don't need to confirm people if you don't have to. And in terms of the main settings, you can add people to a course. Let's say I want to add them to the general course, and I can make it mandatory for all new subscribers, so they automatically get added to that course. It's not an option for them. So in terms of like ease of use, it's just super easy to use. Automations are really straightforward, easy to manage your subscribers, easy to create broadcasts, easy to create courses, and easy to create forms. So I'm really happy with it. Especially I was working in Ontraport. I was doing an evergreen sales funnel, and doing it in here and managing it, it's just so much easier than Ontraport, which was just, I found very cumbersome. It was like I was using something from a Fortune 500 company that they created in the 80s in terms of Ontraport, and I've now come across to the iPhone, which is ConvertKit. So I'm really happy with the ease of use. I do think it's the best in the business. And in terms of deliverabilities, I haven't had any issues. I'm not a tech geek, so I don't know about deliverability of 99% instead of Aweber 99.5. I just made up those figures. I don't know, but I haven't had any issues with deliverability. Everyone seems to get my emails. You get reports on it as well, how many people are opening your emails, and it all seems fine to me. And then problems. Let's talk about the problems, because ConvertKit isn't perfect. So I did want to talk about some of the problems with ConvertKit. There are some autoresponder limitations. So if we go into our courses, and for example, let's go to this new build series. The problem that I have with the autoresponder is if we go to the settings and we want to send out emails on certain dates, we can adjust this. So let's say I only want emails to go out on Monday, that's fine, or Monday and Thursday, I can do that. But I can only send emails at one time for the entire course. What I want to be able to do is to actually go through and say, okay, this email I want to go out one day later at 11 a.m. This email I want to go out on the next Monday at 9 p.m. at night. And then this one I want to go out on Thursday at 7 a.m. and this one at Friday at 12 p.m. or something. You can't do that. You can't adjust the send time of each individual email, which really frustrates me. And for a lot of people, they don't care because the autoresponder series just goes 1, 2, 3, 4. But I was running an evergreen sales funnel, and the days that the emails went out was super important. And so I had to just set up a weird system to make it work. And so that's definitely one of the limitations of the autoresponder series is the date and time. So you also have some automation limitations. So with Ontraport, as I said, you could set up automations like if someone visits a certain page on my website, let's say they see my sales page, I can then add them to a list and begin marketing my sales page because I know that they've already seen it. You can't do that sort of stuff within ConvertKit. You can only do more basic stuff if they click a link, if they finish a course, if they fill out a form, that sort of stuff, you can add rules. So it's good automation, but it is limited compared to the Ontraport or Infusionsoft. They also have a lack of templates, and this isn't something I have an issue with because I like to write just in plain text as if I'm writing to a friend, but I know that some people will have issues with this. And so if you go in and let's just set one, there's really no templates that you can use. So email template, you've got a simple one, you've got a framed one, you've got text only, that's it. So I know like Aweber has a lot of templates. I know that MailChimp have a lot of templates. So if you're looking for some sort of template in order to create your email, then ConvertKit's probably not going to be awesome for you. One thing that you probably can do in Aweber and in MailChimp is to join for the cheapest amount, find a template that you like, copy the HTML code, and then in ConvertKit, you can go to HTML and you could paste that in. There is an option to go into your account and to adjust your email template. So you can actually add a new template if you got the HTML code. So you can go and do that and you put the full HTML of your template in there, but obviously it's just slightly painful and they don't really have any templates that you can use. So if that's something you're after, there's definitely limitations there. Another problem that I have with ConvertKit that I haven't actually listed here is if I search fake, then obviously some people are going to sign up using fake email addresses. And I know with Aweber, if an email gets sent to someone and it's not received, like it bounces for some reason, they automatically remove them from your list. However, ConvertKit don't do that. So this one, fake@email.com, obviously this is a fake email address. If we look at the email history, we can see these have all been dropped, but this person isn't removed from my account. So when someone creates a fake email, there's no way of me really knowing that unless I'm searching through all my emails and saying, okay, maybe this one's fake. Obviously this one's quite obvious. But really, I think ConvertKit should be deleting these emails for me, especially when you're getting so many dropped. Look at this. Like this person signed up in September. They've received all these emails. They've all been dropped. Obviously, I don't want to be sending these emails out. I got to manually delete this subscriber. So hopefully that's something that they work on in the future and that they can go ahead and fix. In terms of reporting, the reporting is fine, but it's limited. So this is another problem that I have. So we've got the last 30 days here and it's broken down into the different forms that people filled out. And you can see over the last 7 days, last 30 days in total, and you can also see for the forms, you got these little things down here. But let's say I want to go back and I want to see the reports for who signed up for free listings over the last year, or how has my list grown from 10,000 to 12,000 over the last 6 months. I can't go into that level of reporting, which sucks. I hate that I can't just go back and make myself feel good with vanity metrics of how my list has grown over time. So hopefully that's something that they'll create in the future as well. In terms of problems, if you have problems, their support is really awesome. You just click that little button down the side here, you start a new conversation, and it's kind of like chat, like you're not live chatting with them, but it's a thread that keeps, and it's just really easy to navigate, and I can go back through all the things that I've asked them about and get my answers. So the support's really good. Delay time probably around 12 to 24 hours for them to get back to you on things, and so it's not super quick support, but it's fine for an email marketing service. If something's absolutely desperate, it's probably not awesome, but otherwise it's been fine. I just ask my questions and they answer me back within 12 to 24 hours. So there are some problems with it. Autoresponder limitations, automation limitations, lack of templates. I've also put in lack of reporting in there and a couple other issues, but nothing major that makes me want to move back to Aweber or move back to Entreport or move to MailChimp or something like that. It is a very good product. So my conclusion after all this is that this is probably great for intermediate to advanced marketers. However, after I went through the pricing, I saw that it was very, very comparable to Aweber and MailChimp. And so, look, I probably would just recommend that anyone could start with ConvertKit. You can always try out MailChimp if you want. Try out Aweber if you want, because bringing a list over from Aweber to ConvertKit is super easy. You just go to subscribers, you then click import subscribers, and you can simply import a CSV file with their first name and their email address. They don't even ask you, like, where did you get this list from? Have you double opted in these people? They don't treat you like a criminal, which I feel like all the other services do. They're just like, we think that you've been dodgy, you're a spammer, so we're going to ask you all these questions about your list before we let you import it. We're going to double check it by a human. They don't do that. They treat you with respect and they assume that you're going to do the right thing, which obviously I do. And so they just let you import people and it just happens automatically. So that's pretty important to me. It just makes me feel good. And then also you can try other services and come across to ConvertKit at a later date if you want. Again, if you're interested, you can go to convertkit.com or you can go through my affiliate link, which is pelt.co/CK. I absolutely appreciate it if you go through that. If you do go through that link, shoot me an email, ryan@ryanmclean.net. And if you have any questions or if you need any help, then I'll absolutely go ahead and go above and beyond for you and try and help you out. So there you have my ConvertKit honest review. I hope that this was insightful. I hope that this helps you decide whether or not ConvertKit is for you. I do think it's a great product out there. There's a lot of great products out there, but for me, the ease of use for this one, absolutely best in the business. Price is comparable. It's got some automation features in there which are really useful and can help you segment your list. You got that tagging feature to segment people as well, which is great. And overall, it's just a really great product. So I highly recommend ConvertKit.